Hey, I am so glad that you are here with me today. I am recording this episode after having come off a week of calls that have been really disturbing to me, hearing stories from women who are in pain, struggling with weight loss, who want a solution to the things that are happening with their health and their weight right now. And they're very frustrated beyond tears. They're frustrated with experiences that they have had in the recent years. Now, this is nothing new. I talk with women and hear these stories all the time, and I have for years. But I think this week it's especially top of mind for me because I heard so many very similar stories, and it just made me want to record an episode and talk about this issue. And here's what I'm going to kind of rant about, but I hope to also give you some clarity around the situation and a different way of thinking about it. Okay. So here's what I've heard over and over. The weight loss industry, the wellness industry, the women's health industry has, in my opinion, gotten increasingly more deceptive, deceitful, and just shitty. Okay. And I say that knowing that I am in some ways connected to that business, to that industry. While I do not consider myself a weight loss coach, you've heard me talk about it over and over. I am a transformational coach. I am someone who works with women who are over 40. Most of the women that I help are in fact over 50, and they're dealing with hormonal imbalances that are very natural in terms of being a part of menopause, perimenopause, this transitional period in life when our bodies and our brains change. I am a part of the industry that helps those women transform their lives physically, emotionally, psychologically. It is not just about food and fitness. It is not just about the number on the scale when you work with me. You've heard me rant about that before, and I will say it until I'm blue in the face. But because one of the struggles that women like you have during this time is your weight, and more specifically, the fat accumulation on your body that impacts how you feel from a physical perspective, the exhaustion, the frustration with how your body looks differently. You're not comfortable in your clothes, you're not comfortable in your own skin. From an emotional standpoint, the brain fog, the sadness, the down feeling, some of the depression, and everything that goes along with that. Because part of what comes to the surface first and creates a lot of pain is that weight. I am tangentially part of the weight loss industry, and I will accept that. But I really have I take a lot of issue with this industry. And mainly because I think it takes advantage of women like you who are in that group of women that I help. Okay. And and I think it's gotten worse. Okay. And here's what I mean by this. More and more, and I think especially since 2020 and kind of the aftermath of that pandemic, more and more I have seen the unethical, immoral, just downright dirty, slimy shift in this industry. And it can look a lot of different ways, but the bottom line is that it's having the same negative effect on women. All of it is. Here are a few things that I've seen firsthand, and I have talked with women who have experienced these kinds of things. One is because there's no real regulation in this industry, anybody and everybody can call themselves a quote unquote health coach. And there are a lot of different titles that people use, but let's just kind of keep it under the realm of like health coach. There is nothing to say that anybody who just feels like it can go out without any experience, without any expertise, firsthand or otherwise, in terms of experience, they can go out, they can call themselves a health coach, and they can tell you anything. And they can try to sell you anything. And that can be product-based, it can be service-based, what have you. I'm not necessarily advocating for like, Big Brother to come in and tax everyone and require certain kinds of fees and certifications. That's not what I'm getting at here. What I'm getting at is that there are people out there, male and female alike, who take advantage of that unregulated fact and they lie. They flat out lie. They lie about their experience. They lie about how many people they have helped. They lie about the progress when they show photos and they share, quote unquote, stories of progress with people that they work with. They're lying. Some of them are creating and manufacturing false pictures and false narratives about this. Some of them are getting these pictures from the company that they are affiliated with, and that's a whole nother topic that I'll bring up. But they are lying, and they're selling this lie to anyone who will buy it as a way to play on your emotions and make you believe that you too can get this same result. Now, I think sharing progress is really important. I do it on my social media accounts all the time. I ask every woman who comes to work in our 12-week program and gets coaching from us, I ask every one of them right at the beginning of their journey for permission to share their stories and their progress photos. I do that because I think it's really important for you to see real women getting real results using the real solid evidence-based solutions and methods that I've created. You need to see what is possible for you, right? So that's an important part of what needs to happen for you to understand that you also can get those amazing results. But there are mean, evil people out there who lie about it. They manufacture false social proof and evidence, and they are pretending, and there's no fact checking that goes on. They are pretending that those results are people that they know. A second way that I see something as slimy is that there are lots of big businesses, multi-billion-dollar companies who are partaking in this sham, okay, and this scam and preying on women. And one of the ways that they're doing that is they have they have products that they have either purchased through someone else and they are then selling, or they are manufacturing themselves. Some of products that they know have no evidence from a scientific standpoint. They have no evidence in actually getting you the results that they're pretending that they're getting. Now, I'm going to, walk a fine line here, and I won't go too far into that. But, for example, if you take something that is not bad for you, or if you are, drinking some kind of, you're putting something in water, for example, and you're shaking it up and you're drinking it, and it doesn't have ingredients that will hurt you, and maybe it even has some ingredients that have some benefits, that doesn't mean that just because you drink that thing, and if you were to lose 5 pounds, it doesn't mean that that thing you drank is what got the weight loss for you, okay? So the cause and effect that they are representing is not always the case, okay? So I'll say it that way. The other thing that they're doing is there's this big, huge explosion in the industry to create this distribution kind of system, okay? And this can be distributors, it can be called affiliates, it can be called representatives, it can be called all kinds of things. But bottom line is that the structure, the business structure is the same. It's huge business. They go out and they get individuals that they sell their products to, and then they offer those individuals a percentage off, like a discount, 10% discount or whatever, as a consumer. And they say, okay, If you will then sell our products to other people, if you will talk about our products with other people and get them to buy it, here's a link you can use for them to buy our products, and we'll give you 10% off of our products for you doing that. That kind of distributor structure or affiliate structure is widely used in the health and wellness, and I'm putting air quotes around that if you're not seeing me on video, in this health and wellness and weight loss industry. And it has been hugely successful. What do I mean by it's been hugely successful? It has been hugely successful for those large companies to make millions and millions of dollars with that structure. Is it hugely successful in the sense that the consumer, you buying the product, is actually getting a result, and more importantly, getting a result that's sustainable, that's healthy, that is a long-term change in your life? No, not really. I see a lot of problems with that. One is, the distributor, it may start out as someone who actually uses the product and they think, that it's somehow beneficial to them. And sometimes that crosses, a lot of times I should say, that crosses over into them recognizing, well, the more I sell this stuff, the more money I can make. And really the compensation plans are not great at all. So they make a little tiny bit off of this. So they need to sell massive amounts of that product for them to see maybe a couple $100s a month. And so they're like cold DMing and spamming people, hitting their inbox and, sending links out. And you see it in social posts now that, all they do is like sale on our, liquid blah-de-da-de-da-de, weight loss, fat burning, whatever, right? And you're like, oh God, how many times have you had a friend that you're like, oh, now they've gone from selling this to selling that to selling this to selling that, right? And people lose friends over it, and they, and the list goes on. The other thing that I see happen that I do not think is well-intentioned, because some distributors are well-intentioned. They actually use products and they do believe that maybe it has helped them to some extent, and so they're, sharing this product with their friends. But there are a lot, and I mean increasingly massive numbers of people who are not well-intentioned, who are distributors, who are flat out lying about the products that they are representing and selling to women. And some of those lies can be in the form of using fake photos. They know that this is not progress or a result from the thing that they're selling, the product that they're selling, and they put it on their social media pages and they send it in instant messenger to all these people and represent it as a real result, only with the goal of selling you a product that they know does not work. They may even lie about their own result from using this product. And that lie can be in the form of, and I see this happen all the time, they're putting pictures on their social media, supposedly of their own progress. And these are photos that are 10, 15 or more years old. Their body does not look at all like that, but they're telling you, look at the 20 pounds that I've lost drinking XYZ fat burning powder, right? And we are so desperate for a solution that they will sell that product doing that. And women get taken advantage of. I hear stories of how, I have drank this thing for a year and I really don't feel any different, but I kept thinking that if it worked for my friend Sharon, that, she keeps showing her photos and, and a lot of these friends, again, air quotes, are people that you don't have face-to-face contact with. And so all you see is the photo that they put on social media. And we've gotten kind of used to having virtual friends, right? We've gotten used to and have more and more accepted the fact that I can feel like I'm a good friend with someone that I've never even seen in person. I've never laid eyes on them. They live on the other side of the world, or they live on the other side of the country. And so it is not that far of a jump in our minds to accept that these are real photos. And if you've ever watched the show Catfish, I don't even know what channel it is on, but basically it's about how people show photos and basically those are photos that aren't them, and then they're trying to like make an intimate connection with someone, and then the person finds out, well, that's not, them at all. They've shown you this, like, I don't know, hot guy that looks like he's 35, and then the person goes to meet him and I'll just say he doesn't look like that at all. Well, basically the weight loss industry has become a big catfishing game in that same way. These photos are not real. Now, let me put a disclaimer here, because I think showing progress photos, that kind of evidence of worth, is important. I show photos on social media of the women that I have worked with in our 12-week MRS program for years. I have shown this. I think it is extremely vital for you to see real women who have used my real proven methods and gotten real results. You need to hear their stories so that you can see what's possible for you too. The problem is I get permission to use those photos, and those are real women that I work with. A lot of these scam artists are showing you photos that are fake. And so how do you discern when someone is telling you the truth and showing you real photos of real women and when someone isn't? Well, I could do a whole nother podcast about that, but this is part of what has me so riled up today. It is difficult to know the difference. So one of the things that really quickly I will say here is, don't buy shit from people you don't know and trust and haven't followed. And you don't have to be next door neighbors with them and know them on that kind of a personal level. But if you follow people for long enough and you read what they write, get on their email list, watch the paper trail, the virtual paper trail, watch their stories. Do they show videos of themselves? Like, if you go into my stories, you're going to see me live and in color, like on that same day. I'm not showing you photos from freaking 20 years ago. How many times have you seen, and I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but to make this point and really drive it home, you see profile pictures of people all the time. And then when you see a photo of them, maybe, at the event last weekend where it was like a snapshot, you realize that their photo on their profile picture, their profile, that photo is like 50 pounds ago and 20 years ago. Okay. And I'm not trying to be mean. This is just real. These are truth bombs, you guys. And so you do have to do your due diligence in those instances. All right. The other thing that I see happen a lot is these products and approaches that just have absolutely no factual basis. There is no evidence to prove that the fat burning pill is going to result in the weight loss that they're claiming that it does. And the reality here is that we have to think with our brains and not allow our emotions to take us down this path of grasping at the dream of something being a quick fix. It is just not the case. So anytime you hear messages of, 25 pounds in 4 weeks, or, melt your fat by drinking this tea, or just take a breath and take a minute and know that that just doesn't make sense. Getting healthy, losing weight in a healthy way where you can truly sustain that, and it is a change in your health, it takes time. It is not going to happen by drinking some freaking tea or shake or taking a pill or rubbing a lotion across your ass. It's just not, it doesn't exist. There's no magic bullet, so let's stop chasing it. And really, to some extent, that really is like the onus is on us. It is on you to not fall for the crap. Again, I've done it. I did it for years, so I get it. I'm not trying to point fingers. I'm just trying to really make you aware of all of the things that happen. The other thing I see, and again, this kind of goes back to how anybody and everybody can call themselves a weight loss coach, is I'm seeing a lot of people who have no experience and no qualifications talk about helping people that they don't have any idea of that struggle and that challenge. And here's an example. I'm going to kind of make a generalization here, so nobody come at me, but I see this a lot. I see 25-year-old men focused on helping supposedly over 50 women in menopause. Now, I'm not saying that a 25-year-old man cannot learn from books and read scientific information about the 55-year-old woman's metabolism. I'm not saying that, right? What I am saying is, let's be real. That 25-year-old guy does not have the lived experience of a 55-year-old woman. He cannot know what it is like to live in our bodies that feels like we wake up and we feel like we've gained 20 pounds overnight. We look in the mirror and we don't recognize ourselves. We have brain fog. We cry sometimes with no explanation and understanding. Our libido is slipping away by the day. We sweat at night like we've run a marathon. He does not have that lived experience. And so he cannot truly, if he has not faced that challenge and overcome it himself, ask yourself if that's really someone that you want helping you. Because I see right now, this is one of the biggest explosions in the industry that I'm seeing. 25 or 30-year-old men wanting to help over 50-year-old women. 25-year-old women saying that they are an over 40 weight loss coach specialist. Based on what? And if you look around a little bit, a lot of these people don't have any kind of knowledge base to draw from either. They've just decided that, that's a cool market to get into. And here's why. Here's why they target over 50-year-old women. Because we are desperate. We have enough pain and have suffered long enough that we're like, you know what? I've tried a million different things and none of it has worked. So what is the next thing I can find? They're not stupid. They picked that market with intent. And it has nothing to do with being someone who had that struggle and knows what it feels like. And so you want that. My goal with helping women, one of the reasons I help women who are over 50 is because I'm over 50 and I know what the struggle is like. That is, does my business make money? Sure, it freaking does. Nobody stays in business if year after year after year they're losing money. But the money that my business makes is because I care so freaking deeply about helping these women. And part of the reason I care so deeply is because I am that woman. I was you. I know what it feels like to have those emotions and struggle from a mindset perspective and be successful and wonder, why the freak can I figure this out in my life when I've raised kids, I have a happy marriage, I'm successful in my career. How the hell can it be that I can't figure this out? I get those feelings and I've overcome those challenges. Not to say that I don't struggle from time to time. And I think that's an important point to make too, and I'll come back to it. But I understand those struggles and I've overcome them. So I want to help other women to overcome them. That's a very different motivation for being in the business than the 29-year-old or 25 or whatever year old guy who's like, okay, over 50 women they have a career, they probably have the money to spend and they're desperate. So let me target them, right? The other piece to that, and I'm coming back to this now, I said, I still struggle sometimes. I think it's important to get help from someone who can stay connected to the struggle. Now, are my struggles as deep? Do I slip as far? Are they as hard to get back on track? Absolutely not. After over 10 years, or about 10 years now, I should say, on this healthy side of things, it is definitely much easier for me than it was, when I started this war again in my early 40s. Of course, I have time under my belt. I have my own personal experience, and I have a track record of being successful and using my own methods to manage my own weight, to keep my mindset in a positive realm, to keep my actions aligned with the goals that I have, and to successfully navigate this very potentially challenging life as an over 50-year-old woman who has struggled with my weight. But that doesn't mean that I'm quote unquote cured as someone who has weight struggles, who has self-image and self-concept challenges, who you've got to get help. And I'm going to stop beating this horse to death, but you've got to get help from someone who has been there, done that, but also hasn't lost touch with what it feels like to still kind of have that pull and sometimes struggle. Most recently, I will share with you guys, menopause is not like you start, you go through it, and it's over, right? That transitional period has ups and downs. There are periods where you feel like, okay, I've gotten on track. I've kind of got this, I got this handled a little bit, and you go for a little while like that. And then all of a sudden it feels like, everything is going to hell in a handbasket, and you gain weight again, because hormones don't just continually decline, but some of them fluctuate. Some of them continually decline, some of them fluctuate. And that's part of the expertise that you've got to have in the help that you're getting. So back to my example. This last year to year and a half, I have hit one of those kind of up and down struggles again. And at one point, At one point, I was about 15 pounds heavier than my normal maintenance range in the last year to year and a half. Now, I was able to lose a little bit of that, and then I gained a little bit, and then I lost a little bit. But my point is that, again, these fluctuations happened, and I had to get back into that mode of focus, because I was not going to be content with just throwing my hands up in the air and having gained 15 pounds and not doing anything about it. Now, there were some extraneous kinds of circumstances. I had some health issues. I had been sick, not to make excuses, but I'm just saying there were other circumstances that were affecting my weight. No, it wasn't just a hormone thing, but I did struggle. I got that back in check, and I've lost 13 or 15 pounds, right in that range. And now I have gotten myself to a place again where things have leveled off. I'm kind of, sailing a little bit easier now. I'm not in a fat loss mode, but I'm back into getting my metabolism into more of a maintenance mode. My point with all of that is that's a perfect example of a recent struggle that I have had, using the methods that I teach and successfully navigating this next part of this path for myself. You want to get help from someone who knows what it's like to struggle. If I had lost weight 50 years ago and never struggled again, I would not expect that you should be getting help from me. It's just not. And it's also why I don't work with women who are in their 20s and early 30s anymore. It's why, because I don't know that journey anymore. So who I help has evolved as I have aged and as I have faced different challenges myself. That's not the case of everybody out in this industry. So be super cautious about who you get help from. This idea that this journey is a quick fix there's a magic bullet. That's another thing that just infuriates me, that I am seeing this story perpetuated out there. This does not have to be a period of time where you suffer. If you live long enough as a female, you will have the luck to face menopause, because it's a natural transition. But I make it as simple as possible to manage it successfully, to be healthy, to lose the weight that you've accumulated, that's stubborn, that you've tried everything to get off, to do that in a way that sets you up for long-term success. You can sustain what I teach, the methods that I teach. But make no mistake, that does not mean that it is fast, and it does not mean that there won't be some challenge with it. That in the time that it takes you to lose that weight in a healthy way and get to that space where you feel really good inside and out, that doesn't mean it's always going to be easy. I make it simple, but that doesn't mean that it's always going to be easy. And anybody who tells you that this is a simple, fast fix is a liar. And you should run for the hills. Do not buy anything they're selling. Do unfollow their page. And just distance yourself from that, because it's a lie. And I'm riled up about it because, like I said, I've seen so many women be taken advantage of over the years. And this week I've talked to a number of women who have been taken advantage of and are really just broken down from it. And I don't want to see any of you lose hope. So know that, yes, we have to get older, but we don't have to feel old. Yes, we are going to go through menopause, but we don't have to suffer through it. There are scientifically based, evidence proven ways for you to navigate this space and go into your 50s and 60s and beyond feeling so much healthier, so much more confident, so much more energized, and looking good and feeling good in your clothes and out of your clothes. And I'm going to close by saying this. I hear it all the time from you, and I heard it over and over again this week. You will tell me, when you're talking about your goals, you will say, I don't expect to look like I did when I was 30 or feel like I did when I was 30. I just want to X, Y, and Z. And I've started stopping you when you say that. And I've started asking you, why don't you expect to look like you did and feel like you did when you were 30? Why is that an unreasonable goal? Why is that a desire that you think you shouldn't have? Hell, I look and feel better than I did when I was 25 and 30. And by God, don't sell yourself short. That is my message. Don't sell yourself short and be victim of this predatory industry and the people out there who are just flat out lying. And don't sell yourself short in your own mind with your own goals. You have the ability and the opportunity to look better and to feel better than you did when you were 30. And there is nothing wrong with wanting that, expecting it, believing it, and doing it. Thanks for being here with me. I hope to see you right back here next week. Love you big.